वेलकम एवरीवन टू योर चैनल लॉपीडिया. दिस इज मी जैस्मिन एंड आज की इस वीडियो में आई थॉट आई विल कवर suicide as a punishable offense as per your Indian law. Yes, if you are not aware, suicide is a punishable offense as per your Indian Penal Code. And suicide, जिसको हम define करते हैं as an act by which a person intentionally causes his or her own death, has been increasing in country like India. And 2020 में जो भी situation we all had to go through, some of us had the option of Netflix and chill, while the others were suffering from their own life problems, and some of them even were suffering from certain mental health issues as well. So 2020 ने हमें ये रियलाइज कराया कि मेंटल हेल्थ इशू इतना भी इररिलेवेंट टॉपिक नहीं है, एंड वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड एंड वी मस्ट नो द लॉ रिगार्डिंग द सुसाइड एज वेल व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट. इस वीडियो में हम बेसिकली लॉ को समझेंगे, देखेंगे कुछ स्टैटिस्टिक्स रिलेटेड टू योर सुसाइड रेट इन इंडिया. नाउ सो दीज आर सम स्टैटिस्टिक्स if you will read, and these are by the National Crime Records Bureau of India. 2014 में लगभग 1,31,000 people committed suicide. 2015 में it was around 1,33,000, and India reported an average 381 deaths by suicide daily in 2019, totaling to 1,39,123 over the year. So now these numbers that we are counting are relatively alarming. That means over 300 लोगों ने 2019 में इंडिया में suicide commit किया. Now I'm not saying there's a particular reason, one particular reason. There may be many reasons for a person to commit a suicide, but ये statistics हमें ये बताते हैं that how alarming the situation is. Now the majority of suicides were reported in Maharashtra, totaling to 18,916, followed by Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka. And the overall male-female ratio in terms of suicide was 70:29. That means male committed more suicide compared to female as per the data of National Crime Record Bureau. What are the laws related to suicide in India? In this particular video we'll be covering that only. And in the next video हम देखेंगे एक बहुत important legislation जो इसी area में आता है, that is your Mental Health Care Act 2017. Now firstly, anyone who survives an attempted suicide can be booked under section 309 of the Indian Penal Code, which deals with attempt to commit suicide. Now इस particular section के बहुत सारे debates हैं, इस पे बहुत सारी criticism है, बहुत सारे people in favor है. There are two line of thought that law अगर prevent करता है suicide को और या मतलब उसको पनिश करता है फाइनली, सो पीपल विल इवेंचुअली नॉट कमिट सुसाइड, जो कि क्लियरली नहीं हो रहा है एज द रेट ऑफ सुसाइड इज कंसिस्टेंटली इंक्रीजिंग. उसी के डेवलपमेंट में हमारा मेंटल हेल्थ केयर एक्ट आया है, विच वील बी कवरिंग इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो. नाउ अकॉर्डिंग टू योर सेक्शन 309, whoever attempts to commit suicide and does any act towards the commission of such an offense shall be punishable with simple imprisonment for a term which makes 10 to 1 year, or with fine or with both. Now this is a really surprising situation जहाँ की a person committing suicide fails to achieve the desired result. Rather than rehabilitating and understanding what's the cause, the Indian Penal Code says that such a person may be punished with a simple imprisonment for a term which makes 10 to 1 year. The next section that you must read while you want to be aware about the laws of suicide in India, that is Abetment of Suicide in India punishable? That means if you aid some person to commit suicide, अगर आप उसको assist करते हैं या if you are any time encouraging the person or assisting them or helping them in the commission of suicide, is it punishable? Yes, it is, according to section 306 of the Indian Penal Code, जो कि read करता है, if any person dies by suicide, whoever abets the commission of such a suicide shall be punishable with imprisonment of either description for a term which makes 10 to 10 years and shall also be liable to pay fine. So if you are assisting some person, if some person dies by your involvement in that particular suicide or aiding that particular person in commission of the suicide, वो भी punishable होगा as per your Indian Penal Code. Now, the second scenario is लेट्स से A instigate करता है B को to instigate C to die by suicide. Now, if C actually dies by suicide, in such a case क्या होगा? B will be liable to be punishable under section 306 as B has committed an offence, but since B himself was instigated by A to commit that offence, A too will be held liable as an abettor and will be tried under section 108, 9 and 116 of the Act. Hence, यहाँ पे दो culprits होंगे, A as the abettor for abetting an offence and B as the prime accused of committing an offence of abetment to commit suicide. So ये है हमारा second scenario. Let's understand our third scenario. Third is it a crime to abet an abetment of an attempt to die by suicide? Continuing of our previous example, A had primarily instigated B to abet the commission of an suicide. Now, abetment to commit suicide is punishable and therefore an offence. As such, A abetted an offence and became an abettor. Section 108 will come into picture as the offence has been abetted, and therefore even if the abetted offence punishable under section 306 यानी कि suicide नहीं commit होता है, A will still be liable under section 309, 109 and 116 as well. While we are punishing the attempt to suicide, यहाँ पे बहुत सारी debates arise होती हैं कि क्या ये ethically correct है. Now, the Law Commission twice in 1971 and in 2008 has recommended that Section 309 of the IPC should be repealed. Why? Because a person is trying to end his or her own life, and later, if he or she survives, you are subjecting the person to punishment rather than rehabilitation. यहाँ पे ये भी क्वेश्चन आता है, शुड द सर्वाइवर ऑफ द फेल्ड सुसाइड बिड बी पनिश्ड एज पर सेक्शन 309 of the Indian Penal Code or be rehabilitated with the care by the government under section 115 of the Mental Health Care Act 2017, जो कि हम कवर करेंगे अपनी नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. This is the debate that has been going on, that has section 115 of the Mental Health Care Act made section 309 redundant, यानी कि section 115 of the मेंटल हेल्थ केयर एक्ट के आने के बाद क्या सेक्शन 309 जो कि सब्जेक्ट करता है एक पर्सन को पनिशमेंट फॉर अटेम्प्टिंग सुसाइड रिडंडेंट हो जाता है, मतलब उसका कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं रहता. दिस पर्टिकुलर फैक्टर वील बी सीइंग इन अ नेक्स्ट वीडियो आफ्टर कवरिंग आवर मेंटल हेल्थ केयर एक्ट. नाउ, while you're understanding your section 309, its scope, you should understand or you should read two particular cases. First is P. Rathinam versus Union of India, a 1994 judgment, and Gyan Kaur versus State of Punjab, a 1996 Constitution Bench judgment of Supreme Court of India. अब 1994 की इस जजमेंट में कोर्ट ने ड्रॉ किया था पैरेलल बिटवीन द अदर फंडामेंटल राइट्स, that the right to freedom of speech under Article 19 gives the right to speak but also includes right to not to speak. Right to live under Article 21 includes right not to live. The section 309 was held to be unconstitutional. So इस पर्टिकुलर केस में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सेक्शन 309 को अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बताया था. However, in the 1996 Constitution Bench judgment of Supreme Court, it upheld the constitutional validity of section 309. उन्होंने ये कहा, in a country where 1/2 of the population is still living below the poverty line, and ऐसी country जो कि देती है right to live as per Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, this cannot be extended or this cannot be implied to include the right to death by committing suicide. यानी कि Article 21 जो कि आपको देता है right to live with dignity, that does not include right to death by committing suicide. And the section 309 was thus held to be constitutionally valid by the Supreme Court of India. So you can go ahead and read these two judgments as well for your understanding of the debates on section 309. Now, there are certain problems when you are punishing a person for an attempt to suicide, यानी कि जब एक बंदा अपना suicide attempt complete नहीं कर पाता है, आप उससे punish करते हैं with an imprisonment for 1 year or fine. यहाँ पे क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं, उसका ट्रॉमा एंड हरासमेंट इज नॉट एड्रेस्ड, यानी कि जिस पर्टिकुलर कॉज के लिए दैट पर्सन कमिट वांटेड टू कमिट suicide, that has not been addressed by the law. It's not a solution. Clearly we have seen as per the data of the National Crime Records Bureau that this is not the solution. Consistently rising and consistent statistics ये हमें दिखाता है कि सेक्शन 309 इस बात का सल्यूशन नहीं है, इसका सल्यूशन कहीं और लाई करता है. Also, the punishment increases the person's risk for depression, anxiety and repetitive suicidal behavior. जबकि suicide का cause address नहीं होता, that why the person wanted to end his or her life and why at such a young age a person wanted to die, ये increase करता है causes उसके depression का, उसके anxiety का and उसके repetitive suicidal behavior का. Clearly it's not able to prevent the suicide, and यहाँ पे there is no scope for medical and psychiatric care because ये simple एक penal provision है. So कहाँ पे we'll find this? We'll find all the other provisions and all the things related to the needed medical care and other provisions in the Mental Health Care Act, which we'll be seeing in the next video. So इस video का basic aim था आपको ये बताना कि Indian Penal Code में क्या provision है in case of a person survives a suicide attempt which is punishable as per section 309. Again, there are a lot of debate about the section, that is it redundant, kya ye still punishable hoga, but as of now the section 309 is there and a failed suicide attempt would be punishable as per section 309. So thank you so much for watching, and in the end I would like to say for this particular video, यहाँ पे we should think what is the national strategy to prevent suicide, how to address the confusion around section 309, and what happens after section 115 of the Mental Health Care Act 2017 has come into force in the year 2018. वहाँ पे क्या scope रहता है. Also, law and legal provisions are one side, but as a community, we must address the concerns of each other. So, if any family member or friend comes up to you, अगर कोई family member या friend आपके पास आता है and कहता है that he or she is consistently not feeling well, is not feeling up to about the life in general, please do not dismiss that life तो ऐसी ही होती है, life is difficult. Please be the first person to listen the problems, and even if you don't have a solution, just have the time to listen to the problem. Actually, half of the problem can be solved अगर हम सिर्फ सुन लेंगे उनको. So कोई भी अगर ऐसा member of the society या आपका close family member या friend आपके पास आता है with the same trouble, at least listen to the person, and after that the person may be directed to a medical help. And thank you so much for watching. Please share, subscribe, and for any legal help, do write down to us in the comment section down below. And as we always say till then, stay home, stay safe, and keep learning.